So this evening, Donald Trump spoke at the Libertarian convention in Washington, D.C., and this has to be one of the worst nights of his 2024 campaign yet. I mean, it was just utterly humiliating. The entire speech, the crowd was booing him, chanting at him, and letting him know that they do not like him. He just got publicly embarrassed in front of the entire country. And I have some clips to show you from this speech to display just how badly it went for Donald Trump. So the first clip I want to show you is him saying that he put everything on the line to fight for personal freedom and libertarian values. And the crowd wasn't buying it. So take a look at that clip here.
Anyone can talk about defending freedom, but I've actually put everything on the line to resist these despots and these stuff. And I stand before you tonight as your best hope of defeating the weaponized Biden and the very evil regime that his people, because it's probably not him because he doesn't know where the hell he is.
Yeah, so that just kind of shows you the vibe of Donald Trump's speech tonight, and that was early into his speech. That was like maybe a couple minutes in, maybe 5 minutes in max, and the crowd was already drowning him out with boos. Look, I never thought that I would be on the side of libertarians for literally anything except this one issue. Booing Donald Trump, we both agree that it's a great thing. This is the only time I've ever found myself agreeing with libertarians as a proud Joe Biden supporter, a proud Democrat. The only thing. And also, what Donald Trump just said is not true. Like, he is not a fighter for personal freedoms. This is the guy who does everything to take personal freedoms. I mean, he's tried to restrict voting access. He tried to ignore the will of 81 million Americans in 2020. And the major example is that Roe v. Wade was overturned because of Donald Trump. That is quite literally taking away an individual freedom of women across the country. There are now women in Republican states who have less rights than women in Democratic states, less freedoms. So spare me the speech about being a champion of personal freedom. I'm not buying it. I know you're not buying it. And even the Libertarians are not buying it this evening. And you can kind of tell from their reaction of Donald Trump. And let me tell you, it just got worse from there. Donald Trump was speaking at this convention to ask for their endorsement, to ask for the Libertarians to support the Republicans because they share values or whatever, right? So Donald Trump asked them for their endorsement, saying, you should support me in 2024, and the crowd wasn't having any of it. I'll let you take a look at their reaction. Here it is.
Now I think you should nominate me or at least vote for me, and we should win together. You heard those words. Nominate me or vote. Vote for me. Because the Libertarians want to vote for me, and most of them will. And it's very important.
Yeah, wow. How embarrassing was that? Just brutal. He says, you should nominate me, Donald Trump, to be the next president of the United States. And it's clear that he was hoping for some unity, that they might clap along and say, you know what? Yeah, let's all come together and vote for Donald Trump. That is not what happened. He got hit with a deafening wave of boos. I would have loved to see what the environment in the room was like when that happened, but man, were they loud. They're not giving him an inch. They didn't let him get away with anything. They were letting him know, no, we are not going to give you our endorsement. We are not nominating you for president of the United States. And the silence from him afterward, he said it, and then for like 15 seconds, he just kind of stood there and like looked at the crowd. He knew what was happening. He knew that things were not going well for him. And I bet that he was thinking like, oh my God, the internet is probably laughing at me right now. The American people are laughing at me because this is so brutal. And safe to say that I think we are. I enjoyed every single second of this, and this is absolutely deserved. And it is coming from the Libertarians who are, a little crazy, but I'll take it. I'll take the embarrassment of Donald Trump, even if it's coming from them. And look, as I said before, it just continued to get worse. Donald Trump was very clearly getting very angry and agitated, and he eventually snapped. He lashed out at the crowd in front of him after they booed him when he asked for their endorsement. It's really not good. Take a look at it.
That's nice. That's nice. Only if you want to win. Only if you want to win. Maybe you don't want to win. Maybe you don't want to win. Thank you, D-Roy. Thank you. No, only do that if you want to win. If you want to lose, don't do that. Keep getting your 3% every 4 years. The reasons for doing so.
Yeah, just so brutal. It seems like not a single person in that room liked him. And we even got word before the event started that the Trump campaign was like trying to bring some of his supporters in there to fake support for him to hopefully counteract some counter protesters from the Libertarian side or even Kennedy supporters, whoever was there. And it clearly failed. Not enough of his supporters showed up. And this is the result you get. But what a great strategy by Donald Trump, right? You're getting booed by the crowd, so you chastise their party, saying like, hey, if you don't want to join me, you continue to get 3 to 4% every 4 years, every presidential election. That's what he just did. The crowd that he's speaking before, and they're booing him, he decides to anger further. I don't know who told him that was a good idea. This was clearly an unplanned attack, and I imagine that his staffers behind the scenes, behind the stage, just kind of facepalmed when he said that, because the tension was already high, and he's not doing anything to lower it. He's not trying to say, hey, you know what, I understand your frustration, let's compromise on something. He's not doing that. He's now chastising them. He's making fun of their party and their poor results. Now, I have no problem with making fun of the Libertarians' poor results. I'll do that any day of the week. But in this setting, when he's asking for their endorsement, I have no idea why he thought that was a good idea. So those are just 3 clips of Donald Trump speaking and getting booed. But the final clip I want to show you to kind of wrap up is Donald Trump getting hit with chants of hypocrite. He was silent, and the crowd was just chanting hypocrite at him. This is great. Take a look at it. Doesn't that just summarize Donald Trump's speech this evening? The entire room is chanting hypocrite at him. Hypocrite over and over and over again. And once again, he has no response. He's like gripping onto the podium for dear life and just doing this weird smile across the room. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to like do some damage control. I don't know how he thinks he's accomplishing that by doing it, but just hypocrite, hypocrite, hypocrite over and over again. Now, the Libertarians think he's a hypocrite for one reason. I think he's a hypocrite for other reasons. But at least we can all agree that Donald Trump is a hypocrite. He does deserve to be booed, and that this was an awful night for Donald Trump and his campaign. And the last thing I want to say about all of this is I have no idea why the Trump campaign thought that this was a good idea. This was always going to go incredibly poorly for Donald Trump. He was always going to be badly received, and they sent him out there anyway to be embarrassed in front of the entire country. I genuinely believe that the Trump campaign thought that he could just like talk his way out of it, that somehow he was going to smooth talk the crowd into supporting him and he was going to flip them during his speech, that they would suddenly start supporting him. But that is the complete opposite of what happened. It just got worse and worse and worse. They booed him at the beginning of the speech. He started to chastise them, make fun of them, and he was virtually like kicked off the stage by the end of it. They weren't having any of his speech. And I've said this before in previous videos, but I also don't get why they continue to send him out there to just speak generally, because all of these campaign rallies go so badly for him. He's either rambling, ranting, spreading conspiracy theories, getting confused, or things like this happen where the crowd is just very vocal as to how they feel about Donald Trump. This was, as I mentioned, one of the worst nights, if not the worst night, of Donald Trump's 2024 campaign, and I enjoyed every single second of it. I have to be honest. I loved it. I loved watching Donald Trump get booed, and I hope it happens more often. More Americans out there should let Donald Trump know exactly how they feel about him. So anyway, that was Donald Trump's evening tonight. Not good. So I'll wrap up the video there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. Also drop a like on the video, comment. Please let me know what you think about all of this. I'm so excited to read the comments. Also, share the video with anybody you think needs to see it. And as always, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.